Marks in the world of mankind's achievements are in the lasting buildings and structures they create. We find this throughout history, especially during the ancient past. Across the world, remarkable monuments stand with their creators well documented, but in South America, the massive stone structures in Peru still guard the mystery of who truly built them. In the town of Ollantaytambo in Peru, stones still stand that may have been left by a single civilization, multiple cultures over time, or perhaps even a forgotten society that existed far earlier than we once imagined. Records of who built these structures are not officially documented because the historical records were lost during the 1500s. The Inca legends during the time speak of their gods or ancestors creating these monuments, but when the Spanish conquistadors arrived, some of the temple was still being built. Without records of the creators, the true builders are lost to time except some clues that I may have found to tell me more about who these ancient builders were. Along the ancient town wall, a peculiar mark can be seen carved into the stone. At first glance, it appears to be a natural formation, similar to limestone runnels. Although, if these stones were created with precision and accuracy, why were these marks left on the surface of the stone? And why are the lines not creating runnel marks that look natural? Moving closer to the wall, we can see that the grooves into the stone go from the very top left and running almost parallel to each other, moving towards the bottom right. The area on the stone where my thumb currently is has an outline of an arc of a thumb. It's almost as if a hand swiped along the rock wall while it was soft. Ancient civilizations weren't known to be able to have the technology to create extreme heat, although here we are with marks of this into stone. It's possible these builders use a geopolymer method, or perhaps they use chemicals to make the stone's surface more brittle to chisel. But whatever they used on this stone block, a shape of a hand was left behind. Even looking up close at the stone, you can see that those marks are not an extra layer added on like a geopolymer paste or ancient cement laid on the surface. These runnel marks go into the main stone itself. The markings appear to show repeated swiping attempts, with overlapping lines that hint at an intentional engraving rather than natural erosion. Limestone runnels are created by acidic rainwater slowly dissolving the stone, and they generally do not produce intersecting or layered marks. If what we're looking at is a giant handprint pressed into solid stone, then this block, at least its outer surface, may not have been carved at all. It may have been cast, formed using a geopolymer technique where stone was mixed, heated, molded, and allowed to cure like ancient concrete. And if that were the case, it could have been the mark of a large protective glove, used to handle the heated, malleable stone during its curing process. A silent fingerprint of forgotten engineering left behind by ancient hands who understood far more about shaping stone than we ever imagined. Who was this one ancient builder that left this mark into the stone block, or to the Incas? Which god's fingerprint was embossed into this megalithic stone? Miles away in a remote area, we find a similar shape into stone that will make us really question if these marks into stone aren't natural. This enigmatic site, known as Puma Orcco, rises from the Andean landscape formed over millions of years by nature or small volcanic activity. Upon the mound's summit, early civilizations appear to have sculpted stone into what became a temple complex, leaving only that base of the mound that still overlooks the valley today. Behind the mound, etched into the surface, are peculiar impressions or marks in the stone that bear a resemblance to human fingerprints, not merely a distant or imagined similarity or even perhaps a fake replicate. At first glance, the stone also reveals what appeared to be foundation bases or platforms where other blocks once rested, each likely serving a distinct purpose that may be unknown to us today. On the side of this altar, you'll see the runnel marks into the stone, but when looking up close, it makes you wonder if these natural marks into the stone weren't done by forces of nature and may have actually been done by the hand of mankind itself. Runnel marks into the stone, or karst landscapes as they are called, are created by acid rain or constant rainfall onto the stone, creating pockets and channels for the water to run off of. Depending on the position of the stone and the amount of water, the runnel marks will form where the water will flow towards. These marks into stone were created over time by the rainwater going through the ground, into the cave systems, and going into the springs that are known to reside in the Peruvian valleys. Although while looking closely at these so-called natural marks, we can see fingerprints into the rock, there is no mistake that this is the shape and indent of human intervention into the stone itself. The alignment is striking. You can plainly see how my fingers match up almost perfectly with the impressions carved into the stone. What's also strange is that all of these natural marks come from the circular indent-like shape into the stone and also lead into the flat base of the altar. These markings go all the way up to the flat base of the altar, showing that these marks were made at the same time. In what way could these markings truly be the handiwork of the force of Mother Nature? Did these ancient humans possess a way to naturally shape stone? Take a look at this other example on the altar. Runner-like grooves align almost perfectly with the placement of my fingers. A massive natural coincidence? One could beg to differ. The shapes look precisely like it was sculpted to fit fingers. Was this some type of ancient cement, such as a geopolymer? Or did they use a chemical to help break down the stone to make it easier to chisel? Or was it perhaps both methods?
Steady, set it down. The block fits like it grew from this rock.
In between the sites that I showed you lies the biggest ancient city with the most polygonal andesite stones all stacked on top of each other. This site, called Canco Chico, or Little Canco, has giant polygonal monoliths that are still an enigma today. This gigantic mound is just like the stones that are all spread across this area in modern-day Peru. It's almost as if these ancient builders had easier methods to shape stone, or perhaps multiple methods making the job easier. All across this field, there are the same marks into the stone that we saw earlier. These marks are said to be natural by forming from ancient volcanic activity and then acid rain over thousands or millions of years. Although this is the only area in this entire complex with these marks into the stone, but the whole surrounding valley is filled with underground caves and ancient volcanic activity. Take a look at this section over here. All of these karst features go into the flat bases on the rock where the ancient builders laid their stone blocks on top of. These features were used either to help cut or shape the stone while the builders were forming the flat base. Carved into the stone are traces of its creators, whether revealed through their distinct artistic style or left behind by the imprint of their very own hands. The Incas spoke of gods and ancestors, but when the Spanish arrived during the 16th century, construction was still underway, leaving history fractured and incomplete. Could these stones have once been molded or cast like an ancient geopolymer? Perhaps chemicals to make it easier to use abrasion with a chisel? Or do these grooves represent a forgotten technology, a silent fingerprint pressed into megalithic stone by engineers whose knowledge has long since vanished?